Continuing on the GTI project today, I'm still working on getting some of this fender fixed up, but as I start to take parts off, because I had, like, right there is where the washer fluid bottle is. As I start to take parts off, I'm kind of running out of place to put them. I'm still waiting on parts for my Z06. Driveline's supposed to be here next week, so that's nice, but kind of having like parts just showing up everywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the C5 when I stripped it for weight to get ready for racing and take everything off. By the way, I had to empty a shelf over here because that's C5 engine parts, C5 seats, C5 interior parts, spare rims, spare tires. Like, I got all kinds of parts. I need to start selling this. Anybody who needs C5 parts, let me know. All the same thing. If you need stock GTI parts, let me know because I'm stripping it to race. I don't need a lot of things. But as I strip it and I collect things, I'm going to weigh them. This is where my shop cranes come in. Now that's 24.79 pounds. But I'm going to record them here. And I did that same thing with the Z06 because I really want to know how much weight I'm taking off the car. I wanted to weigh this before, but it's been like 1 inch of rain a day. And I just need to get the work done. So, and I had to take parts off to get to pieces to try to straighten this back out again. So, and I have nowhere to put them. So I'm going to weigh them, put them on the shelf, and then depending on whether or not they're going back in the car, I'll sell them. So I guess if anybody needs Mark II GTI parts, they're in really good condition, minus the broken front end. But, things like the windshield washer bottle I'll never need. So that's just going to stay out of the car. I'm going to weigh some things and get back to work. Bring you along the way. Stripping out a lot more stuff. Everything in the rear has been stripped out. It's got the windshield washer bottle that's there, speakers, all that kind of stuff is out. Even got that opened up, and I'm probably going to disable the electric lock portion because that looks pretty heavy. You can get that weight out of there and just going to use the mechanical. And then got in here, just got the headliner out. Now for those who are undoubtedly going to get mad at me for stripping out a decent looking GTI, just know that, that's the headliner. It's not perfect. Working on stripping the front part of the interior, getting some of this stuff out of here. I just got that piece out, and this was stuck in there. It is a prepaid phone card. This is probably at least 20 or 30 years old. But yeah, you used to have to prepay your phone minutes. This one is Michael Jordan. Anyway, just things I keep finding in the car. I'm going to keep taking some of this stuff out, but I definitely need to get the carpet out so I can get the soundproofing stuff that's underneath it out. So I just got the carpet stripped out in all of its disgusting glory. It's very old. On to what I was really after. I wanted to get the car down to where I can see if there's any problems and take out a lot of extra weight here. The thing you'll notice is that a whole bunch of these pretty thick mats for, to deaden the sound coming through. I got these up front. And I've never seen this before. Maybe this is a Volkswagen thing. I don't know. But whatever these things are, they're kind of like gel. They're a little squishy. It's really weird, but they're heavy. They feel like, it feels like a sheet of lead, essentially. It's very heavy. And then another thing that you can't really tell is down here. That's not paint. If you see in the corner, that's this, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's kind of stuck to the floor everywhere. And then there's these pieces, which are also thick and heavy. But there's a whole bunch of those throughout the entire car. There's a bunch in the back. You can kind of see it here. It's there to make it, take out the tinny sound. So, see it's all in here too, all around that metal. So what most people do is, this is easy. You just strip that out, take it out. To get all these out, you got to pour dry ice in here, which makes all this really brittle. And then apparently it just comes off real easy. You just kind of scrape it out. So I'm going to do that because this is going to be used for racing. I don't need it to be quiet. So it could take all this extra weight out of the car. So there's also a whole bunch of it up underneath the dash. You can see right there, there's actual, looks like carpet insulation. There's a whole bunch of that. I'm going to take all that out. So I'm going to continue to strip all this out. So I'm ripping out the insulation. I'm kind of breaking it into two parts for weight calculations of what's easy to get out and what's harder to get out. So, and surprise, oh surprise. So I'm getting the easy stuff out, which is all this stuff. The hard to get out stuff is the stuff kind of like crammed under the dash. There's a whole bunch of these little locking things that makes it really hard to get out. These little ring things on, you can see the little hole there. And they're just rarely throughout here. It's kind of a pain. I had to remove this, get behind there. It's a whole bunch of work. And you see, this is the stuff I'm trying to get out too, is all this kind of matte stuff, which ends up looking like this. But surprise, surprise, I thought I paid a really good price for this car. Turns out, yeah, I didn't really. See that little brightness right there? If I just cover this light, you see that light shining through? Yeah, that's the light underneath the car. Because there's holes in the floor. It's rusted through. It's rusted pretty bad. That whole area is rusted really bad. Obviously, there's a hole right there. And then back here, it's even worse. Like if I put a little weight on here and I punctured through on accident. So this is pretty much gone. Yeah, it's, let me see. I'm sure if I hit it too hard, it's going to go through just like that hole there. Yeah, that's cool. I guess, I wanted a light race car. I guess nature has already been doing some work for me, taking out a lot of weight. So I'm going to finish cleaning this all out, really examine where my damage is. Like I said, I'm going to dry ice all the rest of this sound deadening stuff out. I think that's what happened, is over there, a lot of that sound deadening never actually stuck to the floor, and moisture got underneath it, and it just stayed there and rusted it around. You can see kind of the edges there where it rusted around the edge pretty bad. So, and that's one of those are both hole access holes that come off. I just got done weighing the entire front carpet. That weighed 17.63 pounds. And this is like a bag of all the pretty easy to get to pieces in here, and some of the little bit harder to get to stuff underneath the dash, but not everything under the dash, just most of the stuff. And this, 28.43 pounds. I just couldn't find another way to weigh it, so I just put it in a big bag. So still stripping things on the car here. Got the air box off just to get behind it and really get all this, like, really just all this stuff is breaking down. I got a bin of it here. I'm gonna weigh it when it's all done. But I keep finding weird things in the car, and this is no, look at this. This thing sits on here like that to take the air and go up onto the windshield. And then it's stuffed with pens and pencils. Yeah. Maybe I can tell where the car came from. There's just like random junk in here. There's a dead wasp in there too. Anyway, I'm gonna keep stripping this. I'm gonna take this out for right now so I can get at this stuff that's back here. And get all this off of it. This doesn't weigh much, but I mean, I'm here, might as well take it off. I'm sure it'll weigh something. So I'm gonna keep trying to get this thing off, and then once it's clean, I am putting this all back on. But like, I don't need the little insulation whatever on these. Taking that out, and I'm gonna strip out any wiring we're not gonna use anymore too, just to save even more weight. So I'm gonna get back at it. More progress on the GTI also means more holes. Look at this, thing's got just holes everywhere. I started stripping back more of this insulation, finding more and more holes. Took off the dash, a lot of progress there. There's a whole bunch of sound insulation back in there. Took all that out. I didn't want to take the heater box all the way out. I just disconnected it most of the way because I didn't want to take the coolant lines off the front. That thing's kind of holding it up right now. But there's been a lot taken out of this car. About 240 something pounds so far. And that just, you got to bear in mind, that's stuff that's never going back in the car. So there's a lot more that's still going to go back in the car, and a lot more weight to come out of the car. Back tray's going to come out. There's sound insulation. You can kind of see the remnants of a square there. There's one there, one on this side. There's a whole bunch around the back. Door cards are still in. Dash will be going back in. My wife wants to keep this pretty as much stock looking inside as it can be. We're going to try to do that as much as we can. So like the door cards are staying, things like that. But 230 pounds isn't much to scoff at. I've been keeping track of everything all the way down to like, that's a bucket of all the bits and pieces of sound insulation I've taken out. And I've actually vacuumed the car and kept everything that I vacuum out, and then kind of splitting it up. That's the easy to remove interior stuff, 28 pounds. That's like 14, 15 pounds. That's a little bit harder to remove stuff. The stuff that I have scraped out of up in there. All this flat stuff down here, I'm gonna be putting dry ice to get that out, and that's just really thick. Like just taking out the sound deadening material in the car, that's like 50 pounds easy. And it's, you know, it's down low weight, but it's still good to get it out, which has been nice. And that's not going back in the car, but you know, seats and everything are going back in. But yeah, I've kept meticulous notes here on everything I've taken out of the car. So if you're interested in what everything weighs, I can pretty much tell you. So hit me up in the comments if you're interested in like how much the horn weighs, or how much the spare tire weighs, or how much the sound insulation that's easy to get out of the car weighs, all that kind of stuff. So that's mostly done for the interior. Haven't done a whole lot of work on straightening the frame from the accident that I was in, but a lot of lightning and just keeping track of everything I'm taking out of the car. So I've got some other stuff coming because I'm simultaneously working on my C5. A couple days ago, I just got the carbon fiber drive shaft in, got the rear subframe and the torque tube all put back in the car, and looking at getting the dry sump system for my new LS3. So that's going to be fun. It's going to cost a ton of money, but I got a lot of stuff to learn and parts to order to get that into the car so I can get that thing ready. But right now, working on the Mark II because it's easy to work on. I don't need to wait on parts. I can just keep stripping stuff out. Next on the list is wiring. Going to strip out some wiring and then start cutting some seam welds to get pieces like the rear metal out of the way, and the support brackets in the hood here, and cutting out any other metal and stuff that I don't need in the car, and maybe trying to fix that rust. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. Check back for more updates on both my projects, and catch you in the comment section. See ya.